Hey, we got a great topic for you today, holiday eating tips. It's that time of year, and we know from research from the University of Hawaii that they conducted on Americans that most people gain their weight between October and February. And for those of you interested in the research, it tells you just how much they gain, and there's a lot of really interesting insights that they picked up. We've always known it anecdotally that people put on weight in the winter.
Right.
And it's always been guessed at why that happens. Some people think it's just got to do with genetics and the fact that during the winter our bodies pack on a little more for storage, I guess, of calories in case we need them. But the vast majority of this weight gain is through holiday eating. Do you agree?
I agree 100%. And in my practice of 8 years, I've seen that that's usually the season when I've got to help people out with like their mindset of eating and exactly everything we're going to be talking about today.
And as we prepared for this topic, I did most of the initial research, and I was absolutely shocked. If you Google, and you can try it right now, and pause the video and go look if you want, top holiday eating tips, there's a bunch of really lousy tips. I was so shocked. I was like, one of them, I'll give you an example. One of them was prepare your own healthy food and take it to the party.
So you don't eat any of the party
Don't
food?
eat their food. Take your own food. I mean, who's going to do that? It's unrealistic. It's kind of insulting to the host.
Right.
And there's multiple bad tips. We're going to give you the very best 10 tips based on our experience for many years in the wellness industry. And number one is one that works all year round, but is particularly helpful now, and that is we're calling it water is your best friend.
Exactly. It's one of those things where it's really easy to access.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can get water anywhere you go. And then plus, if you drink enough water, right, it actually fills you up.
Right.
Turns off
so
those...
drink a glass before you eat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it turns off those centers in your brain that of wanting to eat more and more and more during that time.
Great. Also, most people think that they're well hydrated. They're just not. My years in triathlon taught me that. I learned about hydration. I learned about drinking before I was thirsty. I learned that if you haven't been uncomfortable in the last 24 hours at least once because you had to pee, you're not drinking enough.
Exactly.
A lot of people don't think that. They think, man, if I drink so much that I'm uncomfortable and I got to go pee, I'm drinking too much. No, you're probably dead on if you're at that point at least once or twice in a 24-hour period. Most people don't drink enough to do that.
Right.
So the rule of thumb is half your body weight in ounces. If you weigh 150 pounds, 75 ounces every day. That doesn't include what you drink during exercise. Number two, according to Psychology Today, weighing yourself daily is an excellent habit. And people who weigh themselves daily are more aware of their weight, and they've proven it. And by the way, the links to both the University of Hawaii study and Psychology Today article are on the show notes, so check those out. But weigh yourself every day. Some people don't like that.
It's just real simple. If you're going into it with a simple mindset that you're just keeping track of who you are, very easy. And make sure that you keep on track with eating and drinking and all those sorts of things.
And proven through research, you will gain less weight if you weigh yourself every day through the holidays.
Exactly.
Number three, don't arrive hungry.
Yeah, most of us during this time of the year, we think, okay, I'm going to skip out on breakfast and lunch so that I'm starving by the time I get to dinner, right? And then what do you end up doing?
You gorge.
Yeah, exactly. You gorge, which is not healthy for you.
And there are those that socially, just for social etiquette, say that you're a better guest when you are not spending your whole time hovering around tables and where the food is. So, eat something before you arrive. You'll spend more time enjoying the people that are there and less time putting on pounds.
Exactly.
Number four, ratio your plate. This is a very interesting and very simple thing to do. We're not saying you can't have a full plate of food at Thanksgiving, but you know what we tend to do is we tend to take the tastiest food and load up our plate with it and then put a little bit of vegetables and a salad. Right. And what we mean by ratio your plate is simply go for the healthy food and load up at least half your plate with healthy food before putting the dense calorie foods on your plate.
Exactly, and it's easy. You got your plate, half of it is vegetables and salad, and the other half is maybe some of those potatoes, the meat, things like that, right?
And the funny thing about it, I think my human nature is no different than anyone else's. When I see a table full of food, there are things that are tastier to me than salad. But I like salad. It's just not the first thing I go for, right? But when I do, and I've been doing this habit now for about the last 3 years, that I've been really conscious about ratioing my plate. And what that means is less potatoes, more lean meat, lots of vegetables. So I used to load it up with potatoes and gravy, a little bit of meat, and a little bit of salad. Ratio your plate means just get that ratio better. Cut down on those things. And some people right now are thinking, why did he say meat? Well, that's a whole other discussion.
Right.
Meat has been up and down on the popularity scale over time, but the fact is, humans are meat eaters.
Right.
We're omnivores. We're meant to eat meat and vegetables, but we're not meant to eat processed food.
Exactly. Right. So that would be a whole nother podcast.
Whole other podcast, but for now, start with the fruit and the vegetables and load up at least half your plate with those so it doesn't leave enough room for too much of the dense, high calories.
Exactly.
Really enjoy half a dessert. You and I have both been doing this for many years. My wife and I, when we eat out, we choose a dessert between us, and we really enjoy it. And what I mean by really enjoy it is you can take small bites and savor them. Be a savorer, not a cruncher, as
Right.
my aunt would say. Don't just down it really fast. You don't need a massive bowl of ice cream and to down it really fast. And if you do, what's the point anyway?
Right, because you didn't taste any of it.
You didn't enjoy it.
Right.
I was so shocked when I started this habit a few years ago. I don't remember exactly when. I think I'd been doing triathlon for 2 or 3 years when I realized I had to cut back on sugar. And what I started doing is not allowing myself to eat a whole treat. For example, a chocolate bar. I would break it in half and only allow myself that half. And I would take tiny bites and really enjoy them. And it would last me longer. And I found that after I'd done that for just a little while, that I actually couldn't eat a whole one. It seemed like too much. It seemed gross to me
exactly.
to eat a whole portion.
Yep, same thing here. My wife and I, when we start doing desserts, we just make them smaller. We eat it slower. We really taste it and let our brain just really enjoy that taste. And by the time we look down, we're like, oh, I still have a whole piece of cake left. I don't want to eat the rest.
Yeah.
Because I've enjoyed it.
You'll find the same thing if you really enjoy a smaller portion. Now, the problem is if you take that one half and then you take another half and then another half, that won't work.
Don't do that.
Really enjoy one half of a dessert, and you'll keep those pounds off.
Awesome.
Eat a healthy breakfast. They found during the holidays that some people stop eating breakfast. A lot of people sleep in on holiday days. Right. And often just don't get around to eating or exercising. And by the time the dinner rolls around, they then gorge. And they think that if they skipped a meal, that they can then make up for it and eat a lot more food and it won't affect their weight. But that's not true.
Oh, it's not. In fact, because you're gorging and you're creating more space inside your stomach, which actually creates a whole physiological problem inside the body of wanting to hold on to calories.
Right.
Yeah, and so if you actually spread your calories throughout the day, you end up not doing that to your body and gaining that extra weight.
So don't skip any meals the day of the party, especially not breakfast.
Correct.
That's tip number 6. Number 7, keep your exercise regimen going. Now, this is an interesting one because for me, I love my workouts on days off and during the holidays. As a matter of fact, I've done some unique and really outstanding things on holidays. For example, I've snowshoed to the top of a local peak on New Year's Day with the local cycling club several times in the last 10 years. And that's a really fun thing to do.
Right.
We have often spinning classes on Thanksgiving morning with my local gym.
Really?
Yeah. What they do is they put on a movie. They set up a big screen, put on a movie, everyone brings their bike and their trainers, and we watch a movie for 2 hours while we're spinning.
Oh, very cool.
That's a fun thing.
Yeah.
Now, it may be very different depending on what location you're at and who you hang out with. You may not have a mountain that you can go snowshoe on. But whatever it is, instead of skipping out on your exercise during the holidays, find ways to go outdoors and do fun winter activities.
All right, especially with your family. The whole family's around, so you get a chance now to go out in the wilderness, wherever you're at, to be able to exercise together.
Yeah. And even if you don't do anything special or unique like that, keep your exercise regimen going to burn off those calories, keep your metabolism up, sleep better, etc.
Exactly.
Number 8, avoid white carbs.
This is probably the hardest one for a lot of people.
Breads, crackers, cookies, cakes, potatoes, sugars.
Yeah.
Avoid them.
That's as easy as it is, right? And then there are some people there, it's like, okay, I've got to have something, right? Yeah. So you might have a selection of 12 different things to look at. Find your absolute favorite one, have a smaller portion of it, and eat that. Yeah. And just be done, because you don't really need the rest of it.
In the book, The Glycemic Index, they talk about white bread. They said that the one slice of white bread has exactly the same glycemic effect on your body as 2 teaspoons of white sugar.
So it's just like putting sugar straight.
Might as well just eat 2 teaspoons of sugar as a slice of white bread. A lot of people don't understand this, but these white carbs are to completely empty calories. Don't eat very many of them during the holidays or ever.
If you can avoid them, completely do that.
Yeah. Number 9, don't eat from bowls or bags. This is a great lifetime tip, but especially true during the holidays where there's lots of bowls of crud. Well, I won't call it crud. That's delicious. We love it, but there's lots of it available everywhere. There are bowls on businesses at the reception areas during the holidays.
Of just chips.
Chips, candy. There are bowls at every party. Bowls just full of sugar and chocolate, and they're delicious. Nachos with cheese. 1 serving of nachos with cheese is 346 calories.
How big's a serving?
8 chips. See, people don't realize that. If you eat from a bag of nachos or from a bowl of nachos and cheese, and you're standing there chatting with someone, how long does it take to get 1,000 calories?
Probably within about 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, without even thinking about it. So the key here is take from that bowl what you're going to eat, that cheat, that sugar, whatever, and put it on the little plate that's usually provided or whatever, and limit yourself to that. Do not stand by the table where the food is and eat from the bowls. It's a bad holiday habit that people have.
Yeah, put your plate together and get away from that area.
And commit to not going back.
Exactly.
And that takes us to the last one, number 10, avoid unhealthy people. This is a little tough. We all have people in our family that have a devil-may-care attitude, and even they want to bring you in. They feel better if they're gorging, if everyone around them is gorging. And they'll do it in friendly ways, like, hey, come on, load up. Why are you just having 1 piece of pie? Have 5.
Right.
There are people like that in our lives who won't understand how much we can enjoy half a piece of pie and that we don't need 5 of them and that we'll regret it the next day and go, why did I do that?
Yep.
But those people influence us.
And we know who they are. And it's easy enough just to go to the other side of the house or wherever you're at and hang out with the other people making those smarter choices with their food.
Yeah, love them, be kind to them, but don't eat like them.
Exactly. Yep.
And there are those people that are health conscious everywhere. Sit by them at the table. Stand by them at the party. But try to find those health conscious people like you and even go to those parties. It makes a big difference. Birds of a feather flock together.
Right.
It's a true statement. It's true in health. If you tend to associate with healthy people, they'll support you in your health goals and you'll be more healthy. And if you come from a family that's completely unhealthy, this is hard to do, so you may need to be the game changer, the person that's going to create new good habits. But hanging with healthy people will help you to not put on pounds during the holidays. Anything you want to add to these top 10 before we go?
Do you mind if I share a quick story?
Go ahead.
So when I got married, our first holiday dinner together, I noticed that 80% of the meal was like just the desserts and stuff, right? And then the other bit was the white breads and all that kind of stuff. It just was not a healthy meal, right? And my wife and I were getting really into this health conscious idea of eating better, right? Yeah. And so we couldn't do it at these family gatherings. So what my wife did, she actually put together a healthy dish and brought that for the family to share, right? And they loved it. It was great. Well, slowly over the past 14 years, everyone else has started to bring their healthy dish. And now I've noticed our dessert portion is like almost 5-10% of the servings. And the rest of it is a lot more healthier choices. So I think if people can start bringing in those small little choices of health with their families, that everyone else will start getting in on that bandwagon and doing the same thing.
So we can be agents of change in our family.
Exactly.
Well, I hope these top 10 tips will help you through the holiday season to not only not put on the pounds, but actually come out healthier. One of the things also I want to add is we have a lot of people that what they'll do is they'll use Thanksgiving for loading day for an HCG run.
Okay.
If they've got 20, 25 pounds extra that they're carrying right now above their ideal body weight, you can use Thanksgiving as your loading days, do an HCG round through about the middle of December, and drop 10, 15, 20 pounds, and then go through Christmas and New Year's, enjoying yourself a little bit more, and yet start the New Year's ahead of the game on your New Year's resolution. Because if you dropped 15 pounds at the beginning of December and put on 5 between Christmas and New Year's, you're still 10 pounds lighter than you were at the beginning of December.
Yeah.
So for those of you doing HCG, that's something you might want to consider, is get yourself some HCG and do that round starting Thanksgiving weekend after you do your loading days on the Thursday and the Friday. So
Awesome.
That being said, I hope these 10 tips will help you to keep those pounds off. This is Dave Sherwin with Dr. Kepo'o, wishing you health and success.